Hey guys, so this is going to be a no edited, no intro, unedited video because I'm going to tell you the story about how I got fired. So, um, December 2017, I had to give up one of my resorts that gave me the most income because basically the commute was killing me. That's not what this story about. July 2018, I gave up my other resort for other reasons. That's not what this story is about. So from July 2018, I wasn't really making much money. I couldn't pay my website fees. So in I want to say February of 2019, I gave up the website for a little while. I backed it up and I was like, focus on healing, because if you've been watching my channel, you may know that I was diagnosed with asthma in 2017, April 2017, and since then it's been a struggle health-wise. So sometime in March 2019, my cousin messaged me asking me for my number on Instagram. So I told her what it was about. She told me a friend of hers is looking for a yoga instructor for a resort. So I gave her my number. He called me. We had a nice chat about my qualifications. He is a taxi driver at the resort, and the owner had asked him to find a local yoga instructor. I sent him a video that I had made for my channel. Like, you know, when you go on the homepage, that video you see, I forget what the name is, just general promotion for my yoga business. But I hadn't published that video yet because I was struggling with deciding whether or not I wanted to continue teaching yoga. So that's where I was when that came through. Side note, I will be inserting screenshots. So just to give you a little background about me, I graduated in 2007 from the United States Coast Guard Academy with high honors. Only about 30 people out of 232 had that privilege that year. At the time, the Coast Guard Academy was 97% white. I also have a master's from the University of South Florida. And I've been teaching yoga for, at this point, 6.5 years. So, you know, that's who I am. When I was born, my great-grandfather was 86 years old. He told me, people will treat you how you let them get away with treating you. He told me he went into the forest to cut down the trees to build a catchment and run the pipes, so our community was one of the first communities with running water. When they got to the houses, they didn't want to connect the houses to the water because they didn't have meters. So my great-grandfather said, well, that's your problem, give people water. And he ran pipes to all the houses on our road, which was like 5 houses at the time, but still. So he told me that story, and he told me people are the most important thing. So that's just some background. Okay, so let's go back to the story. So we were in March, talked to the taxi driver. He then gave me some other numbers. I was back and forth with the hotel. Then later in March, I went in with another yoga instructor. The two of us went in because if I needed someone to cover, she would be the one covering for me. So we went in to have a meeting. We had a meeting with the general manager and the property manager. Okay, things are good. We speak, we agree on a price. I thought the bus to the resort for the staff left from one town, but then they told me it left from another town, which that meant I would have to pay an extra $3 to get there and I guess get back. But then I found out that it came from an even further away town, so that meant that I had to be paying an extra $10 per day that I hadn't budgeted for. So I gave them my first price. They asked me to bring it down, so I brought it down a little bit, and they were like, we still need you to bring it down. And I didn't bring it down by much. And the general manager was like, I wanted you to go even lower. I was like, this is my final price, take it or leave it. So I was supposed to start on May 1st, but they had some VIPs in, and I went in on April 28th. VIPs didn't show, whatever happened. So I started working there fine. I noticed some certain staff were not treating me very well, but they were not coming out with it anyway, so it was no big deal. Then at some point in time, they put key card access, because up until then they'd been using like regular metal keys, and they changed to key card access. So I needed a key to access the room that I was in. I had to go to the front desk every day to get the key, and certain staff at the front desk did not want to give me a key. So there was a whole drama surrounding the key that I don't feel I want to get into. Also around that same time, the general manager called me into his office and said, the staff are saying that I'm coming to the resort and I'm not doing anything, I'm just chilling, talking to the staff. I was like, okay. So he said, so when I come in, if I don't have any guests, I am to go to the pool and just do yoga by myself. Okay, I started doing that. But then they started renovating the pool, so I couldn't do that anymore. So he told me I should go to the restaurant and talk to the guests. But I went to the restaurant and guests were smoking, and we know I have asthma. So I would go every off and on, but not too often. And also I was getting guests to do yoga with. So when the renovations were done, I came back down. I came back down to I started apparently now I'm upset. So when the renovations were done, I would go every once in a while to the restaurant. So in October, I traveled to Florida to become a certified bar instructor, because they had the equipment, and I decided I would do that, and they said they would start offering bar. So here's where we can say that it was like I was sent him the information. I have screenshots for all of those things, but you know what, I don't feel I want to include them. Just leave the video as it is, but I have the screenshots. So I sent the information for the flyer, the new bar flyer, and I followed up, and we're in January. Today is January 6th, and that was never done. So that was October. Also in October, I showed the general manager's wife my Yoga with Auntie Mo book, and she really liked it, and he also really liked it. He was in the room and he said he wanted to see it, and he asked me to order some copies to put in the bookstore. We also had to do a flyer for that, together with the bar flyer, for it to go in the bookstore. That flyer never came, even though I followed up a few times. And I skipped a part of the story. Back in July, I created a retreat package that I wanted to try and sell, and he really liked it, the general manager, and asked me to work with his wife. And I worked with his wife for over 2 weeks, over 40 hours of time, refining, putting in lots of details, making flyers, all that sort of things. And on the final day, it was a Saturday, she called me. I was sleeping because she had lost the latest copy and of the package we had done with all the information, and she called me on a Saturday because she had to present it to the owners. The week after that, the owners asked to meet with me, and then I kept following up on the retreat, and he said the marketing manager, who lives in Philadelphia and works from Philadelphia and travels down to the resort sometimes, had some final changes she wanted to make before we started promoting it. That was July. The goal was to start promoting the retreat packages. So that's my retreat packages. I made them. They're my intellectual property. So that never came through. That was the first thing, and I'm like, what's the hold up? So the retreats didn't come through. The flyers, I was waiting for them. And then that towards the end of October, he called me into his office and he told me, go to purchasing and please tell them my size so they can get me some shirts and some leggings for a uniform. I said, okay, fine. He said the shirts were to have the hotel logo and my name. A few weeks went by, the purchasing person left and another person came back from vacation, and then there was like a mad rush for the shirts, because unbeknownst to me, the shirts were for a photo shoot. So yeah, this is story. So they struggled. They got some photo shoots, but they didn't get leggings, and they were like, it needs to be black leggings. So I said, did I say they got some photo shoot? I meant they got some shirts. So the shirts were going to be delivered the day before the photo shoot. So I said, okay, well, I'll bring my black leggings that I have already for the photo shoot. Then the night before the photo shoot, I get a message on WhatsApp asking, with pictures, saying, do you have this color shirt? Do you have that color shirt? And I was like, what? Like, just to confirm, who is this? And it was the general manager. It was the night before the photo shoot. So I went through, I got some shirts from my mom and everything. So the next morning, the morning of the photo shoot, I get to work around 7:30. I always get there around 7:30, even though my class is at 8:30, because if I leave home later, I won't get there in a decent amount of time to relax before I teach my class. So I'm heading to my room to make sure it's set up and everything before yoga, and the general manager is walking down and he's like, where are you going? Are you going to hide? And I was like, yes, I am actually going to hide, because you told me that the staff are complaining about me not doing anything, so I'm going to my room. And he was like, no, I don't want you to do that. I want you to be at the front desk greeting the guests and before yoga, and if you don't have guests, going to the restaurant to talk to the guests. I was like, okay. So then he sent me to meet with the marketing consultant, who then has brought down some clothes for the general manager's wife, and she's going to be in the photo shoot. And we go through and try on the different clothes for her to see. Oh, we're forgetting something. That before the photo shoot, I had braids kind of like these. They were the purple, the like burgundy reddish ones, and I used to put them on the top in a bun. And the general manager's wife told me that that wasn't okay for the photo shoot, so I had to like sleek a high pony bun, not a pony, not a puff, a bun. So I did that. So I'm there with a high bun that I hate because I don't like putting my hair up. I like having my hair loose because it's cooler, and that's not the point of this story. So anyway, have my high bun, have my head sleep down, tie down, and we're trying on clothes. So we try on clothes from 7:30 to 8:15, trying to get clothes that she approves of. When I take out the leggings, she then says to me, oh, I didn't want leggings, I wanted capris. Well, no one told me that, and here I am with like 5 pairs of leggings, carrying it 90 minutes away from my house, a whole suitcase of clothes. How is that my responsibility? So the general manager's wife says she's coming to my regular class to warm up. And while we're in class, there's 4 other people in the class, and I noticed she's not doing this stuff. Now, I had noticed her body and noticed she had some injuries, so I'm like, okay. So afterwards, after class, she wanted me to work with her a little bit to get the stuff right. So we're going over the stuff, and then I get to know she has never done yoga one day, not once in her life, and that's who has to do the photo shoot with me. Then she pulls out a packet with like all these details that no one told me about and didn't make arrangements for, that me and her need to be in sync, and we need to be wearing this matching outfits. this is something they were aware of a long time ago. They did not make provisions for the matching outfits or have her practice being in sync with me. So now this is the day of. I left home before 6 a.m. It's now 11 o'clock. I'm starving. So I go eat the food that I prepared for myself. While I'm eating, the marketing consultant is trying to get me to do other stuff. And I'm like, I need to eat. I haven't eaten. She's like, I haven't eaten either. I'm like, I need to eat. So I ate. And then I got the clothes ready that we decided upon. And then I started doing my makeup. So I'm wearing different makeup now, but this is me with makeup on. And she's like, you need to look natural. I'm like, I only own makeup that looks natural. So get dressed. It's now like 12:15. She says we have to go to the gym because we need to be there before the photographers come, so that they're not waiting for us. I'm like, I really need to eat something. Like I'm feeling that I need to eat something again. And she was like, let's go, we need to go. So we went to the gym, and then she says to the gym, to me, what did we practice? I was like, well, we practiced something sitting down. And she's like, for the other location. And I'm like, wait, what? I wasn't aware of the other location. And she says to me, oh yeah. So then I come up with a routine. So that's 2 routines now at this time. One where I'm in sync. I may be skipping parts of the story, but I come up with a routine with the general manager's wife where we're in sync, sitting down. And then now I've come up with a standing routine, and she goes, oh no, I don't want this. I'm like, so what do you want? She's like, nice looking poses, and she puts her arms out. I was like, okay, so let me come up. So I came up with something else. And then she's doing the general manager's wife is doing the thing, and she's like, you need to fix her. I said, well, she's not doing the poses incorrectly. So what exactly do you want? Do you want her arm further back? What do you want? Because she's not doing the pose incorrectly. Oh, you said you can teach beginners, teach. And she turned and walked away from me, and I was like, okay, all right. So I kept practicing with her, and then she came and she took over, and she was making the lady do the things incorrectly. Warrior 1 with the knee way out in front of the foot, not just in front of the ankle, in front of the foot. Okay, if you don't know, not only is that incorrect, it's like a recipe for disaster and injury in someone who is already injured. Okay, so then we go down to the other room from the gym, and we practice what we're going to do there for the video, for the photo shoot, but it's a video shoot. And we do it. So I crank up the AC in there, and then they go to the gym, and I go up to the gym to get my stuff, and I realize there's 3 plates of food. So at that point, there was the marketing manager who is local and lives on island, the marketing consultant who is from Philadelphia, and the general manager's wife and myself. 4 of us. But there's 3 plates of food, and the marketing manager is already eating 1, which means there are 2 plates of food left. So I didn't say anything. No one said anything to me about the food. I took my stuff and I went to the other room because the AC was cooler, and the marketing manager consultant said, oh, you should stay here because we don't need you in the gym. Okay. So then I'm sitting there quietly, and she comes down and she says to me, would you like some of our burgers and fries? I said, no, thank you. And I sat there and waited over half an hour for them to come to me. With no one giving me updates saying we're almost ready or nothing, just sitting there waiting. And then they come to me, and then there's these other people there, and they mess around with the AC, and now it's warm in a room that I spent all day cooling down. So I took the remote, and I noticed they changed the settings and increased the temperature, and I said, ugh, who messed with my air? And the marketing consultant looks at me and goes, don't say that. And I said, okay. So then I do what I have to do, And when I'm done, she says, oh, you can go home, we don't need you for the other section. And so I go to the restaurant, the bar, to get a smoothie, because then it's 3 p.m. Remember, I left my home before 6 a.m. It's 3 p.m. and I want to catch the bus that leaves the resort. So I said, I'm just going to get a smoothie because I'm starving. Get a smoothie, and so I can make it to town and get like actual food. So when I go to the bar, the general manager said, what's up? I said, oh, I'm hungry. He's like, well, you should go to the restaurant. I said, well, I'll just have a smoothie because I want to catch the bus. So I got a smoothie. No, I did not pay for said smoothie. And I went home and I was angry. I was like really pissed off. So I went home and I was laying there and I said, and I thought about it. And then I sent this video is already 20 minutes long. And then I sent an email to the general manager. And I said, I'm just pulling up the screenshot here, and I said, while I was privileged to be invited to participate in Wednesday's photo shoots, I have a few thoughts on how things could have been done to make things go smoother. On things that could have been done to make things go smoother. These are some of my suggestions that have been done in my past photo shoots. The models need to have some yoga experience. Wardrobe needs to be decided ahead of time or provided. The poses need to be decided also ahead of time. If I have to decide on the poses, I will have to be paid. Any poses need to be done correctly, at least avoiding common mistakes so that it doesn't look like we teach yoga incorrectly. An assortment of food or beverages need to be provided on scene or an adequate meal break. I hope this will help the next shoot go more smoothly. And I said, on another note, I was browsing TripAdvisor reviews when I noticed one which said that yoga was offered once a week. We need to ensure that guests are receiving the correct information. And then I included a link and a screenshot and that showed that the guest stayed at the resort in August. And the guest said, yoga instructor that comes once a week. And then he responded, spelling my name incorrectly. Thank you, Moneta with 1T. I appreciate your suggestion. However, this was a hotel-oriented shooting where yoga is a part of our amenities. Should we decide in the future to highlight yoga as the main attraction, then I will certainly take your suggestion into consideration. You are always going to be paid one session. I was never under the impression that you would be doing this for free. Please bill an extra session in your next invoice. We do provide meals in our cafeteria where you could have eaten something. As I understand, you declined to eat the food that was offered to all other participants. I believe you got a smoothie at the bar for free. As for the clothing, it will be decided by the photo shoot professionals. Believe me, in my career, I've also done many shootings with high-end brands and stars where the professionals decide in the last minute what will be dressed. Thank you. So I'm just going to pull up my email because I think I might have said something about the flyer. I was reading from a screenshot. So I'm just going to pull up from my email to see if I said anything else. No. Okay. And yes, and then I said, and finally, do you know when we will be getting the new flyers? So we didn't address about TripAdvisor or the new flyers. Remember, I told you I'd done the bar training and we were expecting new flyers plus a flyer for my book so I could put it in the bookshop. Anyway, so that was that, right? So I just responded, thanks for understanding, because at this point I was being gaslighted. So I was just like, okay, whatever. So then after that, things went downhill pretty fast. Well, I wouldn't say pretty fast, but in the 12th, no, the 3rd of December, I sent an email to the general manager, and I said, at my previous resorts, we did not have any guests attending yoga on Christmas or New Year's Day, since they were usually up late celebrating the night before. In addition to this, buses are quite unreliable on these days. I'm proposing a slight change in schedule in anticipation. And then I gave some schedule changes. He did not respond to that email. So then I followed up. I said, let me know your thoughts. That was December 3rd. And I followed up on December 22nd. Good day, following up on the email below. And I included the first email. No response, not on the 22nd. On the 24th, he emailed myself, concierge, front desk, and front desk manager, and simply said, good afternoon. No yoga tomorrow, December 25th and 1st of January. All other days as usual. Merry Christmas, thank you. And I was like, okay. So that's that. But the week prior to that, so he had called the front desk looking for me. Now that day I was really lucky. My class ends at 9:30. I hadn't had any guests. So by 9:37 I was at the front gate. I remember because I have to sign my key out. And someone saw me and stopped for me, and I like ran, and he gave me a ride. And so he called the front desk at 10 to 10 and asked where I was. So front desk said, well, she didn't have any guests, so she went to the restaurant. So then he asked if I was coming back, and she said, well, she checked with security to see if I had left property. So then he called security looking for me again. So I had left. So he was upset because that I had left, because my class ends at 9:30 and I had already left, even though it was 10 to 10, like 9:50. So the following day he didn't see me, but he didn't message me or call me or anything. So I have a jug of infused water that I get every day for the guests, and I return it to the restaurant after I am done. I walked past the pool, went up the stairs to the restaurant, gave them the jug as I normally do, said hi, and left. He was sitting in the restaurant eating. Yes, he sits in the restaurant to eat with the guests because he's the general manager and that's his privilege. And I left and went home. Following day, the restaurant supervisor said to me, please do not walk near the pool. The general manager has instructed her that I am not to walk near the pool because that's a guest area. In fact, no staff are to walk near the pool. And he seemed upset and asked her what I had come to do in the restaurant. So at this point, no one has talked to me. Later that week, when I went to get my check, it wasn't ready, so they asked me where would I wait. I said in the spa, because the spa is directly next to accounts. I walked next to accounts. I went to the spa. They had a new staff and they wanted to demonstrate a body wrap on me, which would you say no? So when I was done at 11:30, I went back. My check wasn't ready. So they asked me where will I be. I said in the spa, and I went to sit in the spa. And they called the spa staff over, who just come in at 11 and at 12 and didn't know that I was in the spa, because I was sitting quietly in a treatment room, and were upset that I was in the spa. They wanted to know what I was doing there. Why was I in the spa? So at this point, I can't go to the restaurant. I can't go to the spa. They don't want me hanging around front desk. So I would come in. I would go and have my breakfast. I would get in at 7:30 and I would go and have my breakfast. And at 8 a.m. I'd check in with the front desk and I'd go to my room and make sure it was tidy for the guests, teach my class, and at 9:30 when I was done, leave. And that's what I've been doing for the past couple of weeks, since just before Christmas. And so today they called me in and they gave me last Friday when I went to get my check, she said, I'm not ready for you yet. And I said, well, Monday. She said, okay. And I said, And on my way home, she asked me for emailed me asking for an invoice for that week, and I was like, okay, so they're gearing up to let me stay home. Fine, whatever. And so today when I went, they were not ready, so I had to wait almost, I want to say, an hour. Anyway, I had to wait, is the point. So then they called me into the HR office, which I didn't even know there was an HR office, and that was the HR office. So I went anyway, and then they handed me my check and their letter. They didn't look at me in my eye, and it says, so I will show you, cut off the essential parts, and it says, this serves to inform you that we will no longer be requiring your services as yoga instructor effective immediately. As a gesture of goodwill, we'll make gratuitous payment of 10 days in the absence of any notice terms. This decision is due to what does it say? As a gesture of goodwill, we have make gratuitous payment of 10 days in the absence of any notice term. This decision is due to operational and organizational changes within the company. We wish to thank you for your services during your tenure with the resort, which was greatly appreciated. So, block the name of the resort and, yeah, letter, you know. So that's that. At which point we've come to 30 minutes. So, the way I see it is, ever since I stood up for myself after the photo shoot, the general manager's attitude towards me changed and my days were numbered. Because if you stand up for yourself as a woman, as a black woman, you don't get to eat. They will cut you down. They will cut you at the knees. That's how it is. And I'm making this video because I'm fed up of people coming to my country expecting us to work for nothing while they make money. Right now, if you want to stay at this resort, it's $900 per night. $900 per night. If you get a discount, it goes down to $620. And I'm pretty sure that only includes breakfast. Plus, the people go on tours, that's extra. They go to the spa, that's extra. And they don't want to pay you. These people expect me to teach yoga for $20. That's never going to happen. So, I'm a little angry, but mostly disappointed that this is what the world is like right now. I'm not going to say anything else. I'm going to end here, and I'm not going to include any screenshots, even though I have all the screenshots. Just know this is what happened.